You know the vibes, you know the vibes, you know the vibes, and where you at and where you checking in and tapping in on. Live on Broadway podcast. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Tonight, tonight gonna be a little different. For a few different reasons. You know, we in New York City, so the background might be a little bit nervous, so apologies in advance. Um, shout out to shout out to everybody in here. You know, shout out to everybody within the sound of my voice. Tonight we're gonna have a few different conversations that might panic. You know what I'm talking about? But frankly speaking, I'm here to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, by way of how I feel. You know what I'm talking about? And I'll let the Giants tap in and do the same respectively. You know, how should I begin this? Um, first off, welcome back to another episode of Live on Broadway podcast, where the situations matter more than the relationships. Perspective will be respected by everybody. And if this your first time, hold on.
Unknown caller.
Let me put some respect on that, right? Perspectives will be respected by everybody. What that means is sometimes we don't got to get into an arguing match. That means that sometimes we don't got to get into a back and forth on whether or not you agree with me or I agree with you. Your perspectives are your perspectives, and I respect that. And that's what that means. Perspectives will be respected. You know what I'm talking about? And it's okay to disagree sometimes, right? I would assume being all of us being of a certain age, it's okay to disagree sometimes, right? Perspectives will be respected by everybody. And if this is your first time tapping in on Live on Broadway podcast, we ask that you guys like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube. Go to YouTube, Live on Broadway podcast. You tap in and see what's happening by way of what we're doing right now. Join that conversation. You want to be brought up on Instagram? Hit Instagram, @IM_Broadway. We'll bring you up. We ask everybody like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you tap in with the podcast by way of all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere else podcasts are available. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm tapping in with you guys tonight because Giant a bit heavy-hearted on a few issues that we're definitely going to talk about. That we definitely going to talk about. Some personal, some not. But sometimes even when it's not personal, it be so close and hit so close to home, it ends up being personal. You know what I'm talking about? But nonetheless, here we are. Somebody tag. Let's do this. Hold on 1 second. Let me see something here because and this is. Let me see something here. Why? Where's the gang at? All right. So look. Live on Broadway podcast should now commence. Let me take that off there. Look, Giants, a lot's been going on. A lot's been going on outside. A lot's been going on by way of LOBP. A lot's been going on. Just a lot's been going on. I want to tap in and talk about a couple of things that's been going on. And a lot of it has to do with podcasts. First, let me do a wellness check. You guys tap in. Make sure you guys tap in. Hit them hearts if you on Instagram. Flash your mics if you on Clubhouse. I want to do wellness check. You know what I'm talking about? Send that over there. Make sure we do wellness check and get the Giants up. And all right, cool. Yeah, all right. I see it. I always want to make sure the Giants is in good faith and good standings. You know, we all had long weekends or whatever the case may be. And I want to talk about a few things. One of the things, let me see if I can get somebody up here on Instagram. Let me see. Hit the button if you want to be brought. Excuse me. Hit the button if you want to be brought. I see. Let's do this because we're gonna have a conversation tonight, right? We're gonna talk about a few things during roll call, right? We're gonna talk about a few things. We're gonna get into a few bags, and I want to make sure the bags that we getting into. If you feel like you want to add commentary to it, feel free to pull up. Shout out to my guy, Z-Mar. I see you, Z. What's happening with you, King?
Yo, what's good, baby?
What's happening? I see you want to jump off. All right, I'm going to bring y'all up. So, look. Z.
Yo.
I'm hearing the feedback. I'm hearing feedback. I'm hearing feedback. So
It might be for me because I got you on my phone and my iPad.
yeah. So just turn down one. You don't gotta get off. Just turn the volume down so there's no feedback and everybody can hear. What's happening with you, D Marie?
What's up, bro?
What's happening? What's happening? So so
Nothing much.
so look,
Living life another day alive. You know how it go. It's a better
I'm here
day.
for that. I'm definitely here for that. If you have external devices, please turn your volume down so that we could maintain and have a good conversation tonight. Again, yo, perspectives will be respected by everybody. Yo, why do I feel a need to keep saying that? You know why I feel a need to keep saying that? When it happens, I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna show y'all why. But look, let's talk about a few things, right? Let's talk about this Joe Budden podcast and what's happening with that beef for roll call. We're going to jump into a few bags. You know what I'm talking about? We're going to definitely jump into a few bags as it pertains to what's happening outside because this podcast game, a lot of people tend to think that this shit is just easy by way of sitting in front of a microphone and things just happening. You know, so we talking about a few things. The first thing on that list is the Joe Budden beef as of what's happening with Rory, Marl, and all that. I don't know if you know. If you do know, then tap in. If you don't know, I'm gonna make it kind of simple. I'm gonna simplify some things so you guys can understand some things. All right. When you doing the podcast, right? There's a lot of energy out there and what's happening with Rory, Marl, Joe, you know, splits and business and things like that. When you doing the podcast, I think people tend to forget that it's not as easy as it seems. And what I mean by what it seems is by, look, you see me here, right? I'm in front of a microphone. I got you guys up here, and I'm kicking flavor with you, right? We're gonna talk about some things. I got Zmar, I got D Marie, I got Shelly, I got Zmar on Clubhouse too. I got Shelly over here, TJ, Danny on Clubhouse, my moderators. You know what I'm talking about? We got a few different things going on, right? What goes overlooked a lot of time in podcasting, right, is how am I able to have you guys on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, and be here with you with my same two hands, right? So that type of shit just don't happen by stroke of just luck. You know what I'm talking about? There's a lot of resources. There's a lot of things that go into bringing you guys this podcast every Monday. And we don't miss a Monday. You know what I'm talking about? Clubhouse, we're going to get to the topic in the room, but I just want to clear the air and talk about some things. You know what I'm talking about? I want to talk about podcast talk first and foremost, right? What that means is a lot of times people share their point of views and they tend to think that not even the point of view. People tend to think that when you jump up and you do I ain't even hit record over there. But when you jump up here and do a podcast, that is that easy. You know what I'm talking about? Or sometimes between Joe, Rory, and Mar, there's a wedge on a relationship because of some money or whatever the case may be. And I think sometimes with this podcasting thing that people think just because they do something with you that they're entitled to what you're entitled to. But the fact of the matter is, if you aren't putting up what others are putting up, then respectfully, you're not gonna be in. When that bag start coming, you're not. You know what I mean? Like Joe, they've been doing that shit for like 7 years. And Rory and Marl, they feel like they're entitled to some type of equity when it comes to that podcast. And unfortunately, they are not. I understand that they was in the dirt building it with them, but they aren't entitled to a specific amount of equity when it comes to that podcast. You understand what I'm saying? I want to tap in with D Marie, I see y'all on Instagram. Then I'm gonna bring it around the Clubhouse. If you guys know what's happening, I see you, Gigi. If you guys are in the way of what's happening with this whole Joe Budden podcast, tap in with me. If you don't, we'll respectfully move on to somebody that does. Tap in with me, Z.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, big dog. Uh, I heard a little bit about it, man, but I ain't following it, so I don't have a whole lot of input on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but just based off of your explanation of the situation, I can kind of see it, from what we do. You get what I'm saying on Clubhouse and on your, on your podcast. You get what I'm saying? Where you've been doing this shit, you feel me? And then we join it, and now we think that we're entitled to some type of, financial, funds or what have you. So, at the end of the day, coming from that perspective, man, this is your shit. You feel me? So if Joe Budden been rocking on his own and building from the bottom, and he just brought his boys on, I don't think they entitled to equal shares in his financial stability or his financial gains. But I mean, they are helping push along the show, so there should be some type of compensation
Absolutely.
to what they are contributing. That's where I'm at.
Absolutely. And look, just to clarify, this is not about helping build the platform. This is about equity. This is about account them wanting to know where the money is going, right? This is about Rory and Mar wanting to know where the money is going. See, we're going to talk about some relationships tonight, but all the relationships tonight, respectfully, aren't going to be about women to man, man to woman. Some of these relationships we're going to talk about tonight is going to be about man to man and woman to woman, respectfully. Some of these conversations we're going to have tonight might shake the room a little bit, you know what I'm talking about? But we're going to have some honest and candid conversation tonight, because I think somehow, somewhere along the lines of how you say that, somewhere along the lines, there's a gray area, and people like to straddle that gray area. D. Marie, tap in with me before I get it from Clubhouse. D. Marie, can you hear me, Queen?
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I'm sorry. I had you on mute for a second. I was talking to Carter. I don't know exactly what's going on. I've been hearing quite a lot about it over the weekend from different people, and different people that been like on Hot 97 and stuff like that. I've been talking to, and I understand. It takes a team to build something, but at the end of the day, I respect that it was his idea to start it. Now, not everybody doesn't deserve the same equal share. I'm going to say that. Unless you put in that same equalness to when he started. You understand? Yeah. But, okay, it was his idea. He started it. Granted. Then you have the people that have been with you from day one helping you build this platform. I respect it. Not saying that they deserve the same amount that you're getting, but some form of payment to say thank you and I appreciate you. I get that. I can do.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody sometimes feel like, oh, because I've been here since day one, so I deserve the same amount as you. It's a difference between me and you doing this idea together and me having the idea and me bringing you along. If I'm the one that put up the money and all the stuff, the equipment and, different things, then I'm going to see my money refunded back to me. But I'm not going to be selfish.
Right there, though. Right there, right? And that be it, right? Like, a lot of times, right? And homie said this. Joe said what he said. He said, if y'all bring a deal to the table, I'll eat different. I won't eat much different, but I'll eat different, right? With this podcast thing, a lot of times, like, hey, yo, pass me some water. Somebody bring me some. You see that? There's nobody here. There's Broadway here. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times, respectfully, I put LOBP on my back. And there's a lot that goes into LOBP. You know what I'm talking about? And my team, they jump shots be working. You know what I'm talking about? Meaning they know how to get out on the floor. They know how to move, shake it up, and shoot their J's. And respectfully so, I identify the Giants as the team too, because you guys, I can't talk to myself. I can't sit here and have a conversation by myself. So you guys that pull up, be it if it's after the podcast and you listening to the podcast, and on any streaming platform or whatever the case may be, but you guys listen and tap in. I owe it to you guys to every week pull up and shoot the shit, because respectfully, this is a let out not only for you guys but for me as well.
And that's the thing,
Go ahead. I want to stay on that, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, as for me, I'm a day one person. Have been here since season 1, but we tried multiple things. To the brook. We'll sit here. We'll have the podcast. We'll talk, and then we'll have an after hours thing. Not saying I deserve the same amount, but that you're getting because it's your platform.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm somebody who's been here since the very beginning. So if you gave me a piece of anything, I know it's the gratitude that you're showing me. That's saying thank you for being one of the main people that's been here since the beginning. I knowing I didn't help you buy mic, knowing I didn't help you buy camera equipment and stuff like that.
Keep that same energy.
I get it. I really do get it. And some people they feel like it's being selfish, but you can't be selfish when you're doing something on your own accord. The same way as for me and my catering. You know what I'm saying? I can't give you the same type of energy because I did this by myself.
Right.
My money, my time, my energy, my thoughts, my ideas.
And let me hold on, D. Let me stay right there with you though, D, because anybody business, I'm well documented. I support everybody business, right?
That's a fact.
I support every small, large. I don't jumped up here. I don't gave out money. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, it's your birthday? What's your Cash App, sis? You always pull up. I show love. So it leaves you feeling a bit befuddled. I'm coming to you right now, Clubhouse, on how sometimes if you didn't, let me put some respect on my shit. Sometimes when you build, sometimes you can't have conversations about ownership with people that's never owned shit.
Big fact.
We can't have conversations. We can't have conversations about what it feels like to get something out the mud. You see, I'm wearing my crystals and I had to get my energy right. Yo, Z, Shadi, I buried my crystals, Danielle, Danny, and I had to dig them back up. You know what I'm talking about? I had to get my energy right. You know what I'm talking about? Because sometimes
you gotta reset.
Sometimes it's very easy to want accolades, but very hard to put in the work to receive the accolades.
That is true. And by the way, Roger,
go ahead, Danny. Tap in with me.
Full moon coming up. Make sure you put your crystals out to charge. This is going to be a very powerful full moon. It's the pink flower full moon.
Yes.
And it represents fertility. So that means growing. People think fertility and think babies, but not just that, but like anything that you want to start and grow and all of that kind of stuff with Jupiter and Pisces right now.
Yeah.
And that super full moon coming up. Make sure you charge your crystals. Make some full moon water if you can. Anything you can to harness that energy, because this is going to be a powerful one.
I think the idea of what Rory and Mar are expecting by way of that podcast is asinine, respectfully. You know what I'm talking about? I think if you do something with somebody and you get it out the mud and it's your IP and you two, y'all started it, Rory, Mar, Parks and everything that's happening with that podcast over there, if you get something out the mud and your intentions are starting something with somebody and you guys are doing it and you guys have the same brainchild, yeah, then absolutely. There's certain things that should be afforded to them on the equity side to it. But more often than not, what ends up happening is when there's no money to be divided, people come into work late. People, we watch. I don't know if you guys watch, but Mar always shows up late. The podcast always starts late. You know what I'm talking about? Whatever's happening with Rory, I said Mar, right? Yeah, I meant Mar if I didn't say it. What's happening with Rory feels like because he came in on episode 7 that entitled him to some of that YouTube bread. No, it doesn't. And I'm just here to speak from a actual living testament to what this podcast shit is. You know what I'm talking about? A lot of times we jump up here and the viewers, the listeners, the people that gives their POVs and that watch it think that it's easy. No, it's a lot of fucking money that goes into it. And it pales in comparison to, but let me say this too. If you bring a deal to the table, yeah, you may eat a little different. You know what I'm talking about? That's like, say, one of my teammates bring in a deal to LOBP, right? They bring in a sponsorship. They find a venue. They do something for LOBP, right? And there's money on the table. Broadway might be accepted to take a little bit less. You know what I'm talking about? Not much less, like Joe said, not much. But take less because that's their arrangement. They brought it to the table. If one of my teammates brings something to the table, then yeah, Broadway may eat a little bit different. But when Broadway is bringing he's not bringing the plate to the table. He's actually going out and grocery shopping and saying, hey, everybody, look, you guys may have an idea on how to cook this shit, but without no food, there's nothing to cook, respectfully. You know what I'm talking about? Sade Z, tap in with me on Instagram. I see you, TJ, Shelly, DWI. Tap in with me. You guys tap in with me. Take your time.
Y'all, my mouth is hurting still, but I want to be compensated for troubleshooting today. You hear me?
Yo, Shad.
He said, I'm ready to put my 2 cents in. Give me.
Yo, you know all too well that I already know this whole song and dance.
Yo, D, you know the dance, man.
I already know. Man, where do we begin? Where do we begin? All right, can I just hear your POV? Because I heard you saying a lot, and I know you have a team and you have a similar setup. You know,
Yes.
do you find that the people are having a hard time understanding like the process of building everything that you've been building, or are we learning from Joe Buttons in them? Because
no. A lot of times people don't understand. All right, so let me just put this out there. There's no written agreement with me and anybody on my team. Put some respect on that.
meaning,
Hold on,
so
wait.
meaning they could.
I'm
Okay.
going somewhere. Let me work. There's no written agreement between me and anybody on my team. However, sometimes there's a blessing in not having no written agreement. But sometimes everyone isn't always able to see the blessing and not having that written agreement. You know what I'm talking about? So on my side, I don't straddle the fence in trying to be like any other podcast did. I straddle the fence in doing everything what's best for LOBP. Sometimes some of my teammates can't make it in. And I'm okay with that, right? I'm not like, look, I'm not putting no bread, like, go get your bread. You know what I'm talking about? Respectfully. Know what I mean? So I'm very much aware of it, but my issue has always been if I can have, and anybody feel free to jump up. Anybody we got room for one more. On Instagram and a ton of space on Clubhouse. D, respectfully, I feel like when it comes to LOBP, my team does, however you say it, they do an excellent job at pointing out the problem, and we troubleshoot the problem. I don't do this by myself. If it's not me, I have my assistant editor Raina. I have creative director Brooklyn Pisces. I have Ashley King. It's a gang of us. Even you, D, respectfully, you work in and out of the workspace of LOBP. You know what I mean? Like, you come and you go. I'm not saying your team, your gang, but your gang. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you gang, because when we first pulled up to the Matrix, we was up in that studio, and I always had a vision for LOBP. But we got there by way of, You saw something and you was like, yo, wait, pull up over here. This might be a great outlet and a great court for you to shoot your jump shot. But we was already doing we was already doing live on Broadway by way of the fucking couch.
So that's a good analogy you just brought up. Let's just table that right there so people can understand. So and then I'm gonna land this Learjet after that. So Broadway was doing it on Instagram. I had the studio where I was already producing radio shows for over, I think, 18 years at that time. And I've seen his vision, and I was like, look, you could do it live and have a live studio audience. We both agreed that should be crazy. There's no way on God's green earth, if Broadway got $1 million tomorrow, that I would feel obligated to get some of that money because of that transition. Because at some point he would have made that decision. Obviously he's been doing it, and I didn't put no money into that. It was just an idea. We had to talk. So that's part of what happens when you sit on the couch and you say, yeah, I'm gonna be a part of a show, and you're just riding and everything is good. That's cool. But then, like you said, when the checks start being signed, just for you having a conversation, for me already being a popular rapper with an opinion off a TV show and yada yada yada. Now I put some guys together, and we don't have a further discussion, then I don't think you should be owed that. Now we could stop there, because that's a perfect example of what somebody would be like, yo, but I'm the one that told you let's move the chairs over here. So, and you got popular from that. Like, you can't say that. I can't say that. Like,
I can't tell you how many nights I done been in studios with my team and well, not LOBP, just music, and an artist is in the booth, and I'm like, nah, don't say it like this. Say it like this. And then drop the snares there and add the bass line there. If my nigga go platinum, I'm not expecting him to you know what I'm talking about? But this is a different conversation, because we not, the music space and the podcast space is different. You know what I'm talking about?
Right, but we're talking about ideas and contributing to something when it was nothing, and not putting nothing in writing or in contract. That's on them if they didn't do that.
Well, let me say this too, though, D. A lot of times, when if I don't have a written agreement with you per se, with the Matrix Studios, guess what that means? Guess what that means? You fucking guessed it. I can come and go and be free to do whatever it is that I choose to fucking do, respectfully. But if now we do some written agreement and we have an idea on what the fuck is going on, and now there's clauses in it that say, yo, you can't do XYZ. You can't do XYZ. Guess what? Now you can't do XYZ because you married to that agreement, right or wrong? Right. Or wrong?
Right.
Right.
But you know what, Broadway? Some people need to remember Joe Budden had a platform before all this. You know what I'm saying? And he just took it to a different level. He went from rapping, reality TV, to go a different way about it. So it's not like he was just some average Joe Schmo from Jersey in the backyard. He had a platform already.
He had a platform already.
He's been on reality TV.
He had a platform. No. I just want to stick to the bottom line of he had a platform already.
So yeah, it's not like he's starting from zero.
I just want to be clear inside saying this. Sometimes, and not all the time, but some of the times that's some. Some of the times when it comes to a platform that you've already had, I look at this. What value are you adding to whatever it is that we're doing? DWI, were you doing any podcasts before LOBP?
Yes.
Okay. Were you doing any live studio podcasts before LOBP?
No, not as a weekly thing. Nah, I've done some, but not. Yeah.
I can't.
And to be honest with you, I think when you came is when at that spot is when I really started doing them after that. So yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. And my point inside saying that isn't to clout chase. My point inside saying that is just to say that if D did 100 other podcasts after LOBP, yo, funny, candid moment. I used to say to yo D, while I'm here, I don't want nobody else doing live podcasts. Not while I'm here. You know what I'm talking about? And D would oblige. He'd be like, all right, cool, I understand it. You know what I'm talking about? Because he saw that what we were doing, nobody else was doing at that time and at that moment on that platform. I'm always okay. Listen, let me get out that space, right? Let me talk. Let me talk my shit. Responsibility and accountability is big in this podcast space because it's my responsibility as the A mic on this podcast to pull up, shoot the shit with you guys, and have a good time. I tap in with you all. I make sure you guys are cool. I tap in personally. Yo, I didn't know D, I didn't know Zima, I didn't know Sade. I don't know nobody on this platform before this platform started but DWI. I ain't know what I say on the intro? Nobody, how I say that shit? I say something about that in the intro. Respected by everybody. Just like you, every giant here first started off as a perfect stranger. You know what I'm talking about? I tap in and I get next to you guys because respectfully, and if I'm to be honest, you guys get next to me. Yo, way, you good? Yo, I appreciate the show. Oh, shit, I was having that same type of situation in my relationship. And some of you guys, I talk about y'all relationships and situations that you guys DM. The world might not know who I'm talking about, but I'll be talking about somebody that's up here right now. And we'll be dead having a whole conversation. They'll get an honest POV by way of everybody that's up here having an honest conversation. I met Gigi by way of doing what? How did I meet you, Gigi? Gigi, are you with us, Queen? She's probably preoccupied. But
I'm here. I'm sorry. I was muted and I was talking. I thought I was here. Just kidding. I met you at the Joe Budden podcast.
you know how I met Gigi at the Joe Budden fucking podcast. You know how I met Gigi at the Joe Budden podcast? Because I don't take this podcast shit lightly. I do my homework, I do my research, and this is a new space. So I get outside and I shake hands and I kiss babies. I need to know what the fuck is going on and get a closer understanding of what the fuck is going on because a lot of everything that me and my team have conversations about, we're doing it. Everything. Every fucking conversation. And I wish, PR, pull up. Pull up, PR. Let's have a conversation. Because everything that him and I said that we would be doing off mic, we're fucking doing it. Is it a perfect relationship between me and D? And I'm gonna get into the way I talk too. I'm gonna get into the way that I talk too. Because sometimes people be misconstrued or people feel some sort of way. Hold on. I gotta check the temperature, make sure see if anybody tapping in. Sometimes the way that I talk to people in front of this mic, people misconstrue to be personal. This ain't nothing personal when I'm Broadway's in front of this mic here, right? This ain't, hold on. There you go. This ain't nothing personal when Broadway's speaking in front of this mic. This is for shits, this is for giggles, this is for laugh, this is for keeping that same fucking energy, how we like to say on LOBP.
Keep that same energy.
Shout out to the
Hey,
Brooklyn Pisces.
What's goody?
This ain't nothing personal. When I stand in front of this mic and people jump up here and people feel some sort of way because I'm speaking to them, I create moments. They create moments. We hear the shit. Don't take nothing personal. Perspectives will be respected. D. Marie, how many times I've been the butt of the joke? In the group chat, on the fucking live, how many times Broadway, Danny say her shit to me, Sade say her shit to me? I don't take that shit personal. You know why I don't take
We got a few.
You know why? You know why I don't take it personal? Because I know I keep that same energy. And in the words of the great philosophical orator, the Brooklyn Pisces, I don't start that shit. But when I get into my bag, I start saying some shit, and the room starts shaking, and everybody start panicking, and it be like, oh shit, how Broadway gonna say that? You know how Broadway gonna say that? Because every dog has his day. There's no perfect relationship between me and DWY. I give him shit all the time. He knows my intentions is pure. DWI, he's still in here. Okay, I don't want to talk behind nobody back.
I'm still present.
Yeah, there's no perfect relationship between me and the Brooklyn Pisces. We go at it all the fucking time. But
all the fucking time.
but I know his energy is pure. I know he has this podcast, this thing in his best interest. He holds it in his best interest. I'm saying this to say that you podcasters out there that feels fucking entitled because you guys remember the light-skinned chick that did the Wallow and Gilly podcast? What was her name? I forget her name. If somebody tapped into the $1 Million Worth of Game and know her name, tell me her name. She felt entitled. There's no entitlement with this podcast shit. You jump up here, you say your shit, and we keep it pushing. Just because you created a moment doesn't mean you're entitled to anything. Are you putting up any fucking money for anything that goes on behind the scenes? Probably not.
I know y'all love.
That's the wrong drop. But you know what I'm saying? Brooklyn Pisces tapping with me one time.
Yo.
What's good, y'all?
We talking about this Joe Budden. Yeah, if you heard, you know. If you don't, I'll update you. But tap in with me.
All right, hold on. You come in real quick. I was behind the scenes, so I had to hurry to get on my page real quick. But I'm hearing everything that's going on. I didn't really review it now. I'll be honest with y'all. Wade does most of the research. Like you said, I'm a creative producer. So what would normally happen is he'll do the background. Him and Raina will do the background, and I'll just get the ideas and just start flowing with the ideas, and we'll go from there. So it's just a matter of pros and cons. We know our weaknesses, we know our strengths. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we work accordingly. And even though, like he said earlier, there's no written agreements amongst each other, there are still responsibilities that we hold ourselves to. There are still things that we label and go, all right, you're putting this for this, you're putting this for that. You know, it's not to mention, and it's not possible to do. And I don't want to say too much about what we do.
Affairs, right? Just don't cover your mic when you speaking, King.
Oh, my fault. What I will say is that we have groomed each other to know each other's tasks and standards as well. You know what I'm saying? So if one falls, the other can pick up. But like Ray said, he started this. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I came in season 2. We met each other through a mutual friend. And it started with just an idea. Indeed. You know what I'm saying? With just an idea. And he was feeling the idea so much so that he was like, yo, Pete, I want you on board. You know what I'm saying? And we had a good discussion of what I'm able to give and what he expects from me. And we went from that point on. You know what I'm saying? I would never take away LOBP starting prior to me. I would never take away Way is the face. And that's big. You know what I'm saying? It's so much so big that I'm gonna use a terrible analogy right now, but I'm gonna use Ciroc for instance. Diddy had a very small percentage. They paid him for his network and for his face. But he did so much more work, I felt, and most people felt, and probably he felt, that he asked for a bigger percentage. To the point where he was part owner in that. he was an owner in the very beginning of Ciroc. But I said to say that Wade is the face. He's the face of the team. He does majority of work. You will see him more often than not with certain things that's going on. And therefore, there should be no question of who gets what and why and how. I'm saying with this whole situation with this podcast, it's Joe Budden's podcast. Plain and simple. Joe Budden's podcast. You see his face, you see him doing the work, you see him going out doing everything. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what these brothers do behind the scenes. I can't sit here and rectify that but again, I know what possibly can be going on because we have our own situation that we do. So maybe they are doing a lot more, but if it's a matter of I've been here from the beginning, that's like with D. Marie having her own company and Wade being one of the first customers. Is he not entitled to some of her profits 5 years later because he got her to a certain stature, even though he's a loyal customer? Loyal customers get benefits, but they don't get profit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. No, that doesn't occur. Loyal customers get benefits, they don't get profit. So that's
crab leg.
Nah.
You get an extra crab leg.
But it's real. Like, D has even sponsored, a meal, if I'm not mistaken, a meal or two, to LOBP. And she was here before me. I mean, let's make that clear. She was doing this with Wade before I was even on board. You know what I'm saying? So it's like things like that have to be affected. But I don't want to say too much. I'll talk a lot. I'll talk too much, but
that's what I'm trying to get in there.
I'm my fault. But I will say this: the one thing I'm gonna cut it off. I'm just gonna be done with it. Is that like you said, even though we have disagreements, and we all do, it's not just a one me and him thing, but we all have our disagreements. There's always a disagreement to better. There's the problem, and then there's the solution. We find a solution for that. And that's something that should happen amongst the team with Joe Budden's team. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have an issue. That must have been an underlying issue that's been going on for a minute. That's not no just now happening type shit. That's some shit that's been going on for a long time. They should have been dealt with that. But that's all I have to say with that.
They got to find common ground, basically.
Listen.
Yeah, they got to come to some.
Don't let money.
I'm definitely, listen, man, I'm not that person that's going to sit up here in front of you guys and cap and tell you guys that this podcast shit is easy. I'm definitely not going to do that. I'm also not going to be that person that jump up here and say and share thoughts and say to you guys that Broadway does every fucking thing, because I don't do everything. You know what I'm talking about? But part of being a good leader is knowing where your areas of opportunity lie and knowing when to put people in position that can do better than you can in certain regards. If it's not for my team, I won't be here right now kicking it with you guys. And all the way up, all the way up to the Sades, to the Z-Mars, to the Dannies, to the TJs and Gigi, and everybody that's on excuse me, and everybody that's on Clubhouse right now. It wasn't my first time on Clubhouse before I found Z-Mars, Sade, and everyone else, Danny, T, everybody else. This shit happened by way of being on fucking Clubhouse, and I built the fucking dope team on Clubhouse. Put some respect on they shit. You know what I'm saying? They know how to get niggas the fuck out of here on Clubhouse when they start talking crazy. And even sometimes send me to the gulag. The fuck is you talking about?
What are you talking about?
And it's all in fun. I'm cool with it.
You made me mad that day, my bad.
Shut up. You know what I'm saying? But listen, man, I wanted to get up here and say that and put emphasis on it's not ever no ill intent. If I get up here and I curse you out, I'm calling you right after. Yo, you good? We good? All right, cool. Sometimes that's the way Broadway talk. If you come to the live in studio, if you ever been to this studio, if you ever been to an event, it's not personal. Not fucking personal. Know what I'm saying? If you can't stand the heat, how the saying goes.
Stay the hell out the
Get
kitchen.
your ass out my kitchen.
Get the fuck out the kitchen. And
Stay
we
out my
don't-
kitchen because
And
it's
we
always
don't take
hot.
that shit personal. Because there's been people up here that's like, yo, hey, listen, check this here. Homeboy, I don't like the way that shit went. All right, cool. Nothing's happening with the content. The content's still going out, but in future tense, we just won't bring you back up, beloved. Respectfully, sis, we just won't bring you back up.
Well, you're gonna sign that. You're gonna sign that.
NDA?
Sign that agreement. Yeah, the NDA.
Yeah.
That's us.
That's it. That's it.
And that happened. That's the actual story. We learned from that lesson.
Know what I'm saying? Like, hence the reason why we say what we say. You know what I'm talking about? Recorded room on Clubhouse. Y'all know the vibes when you jump up here on Instagram. You know when we do the podcast. But listen, 48 minutes in, and we're gonna talk about our shit. Can we do that? Live on Broadway podcast. I just felt the need to get, you know what I mean, get my energy restructured and recentered. If you think that this is a fly-by-night podcast, you sadly mistaken. There's a lot of dope shit going on in the background and shit we can't speak to as of yet. But if you stay patient, you stay down till you come up, you'll see what the fuck is happening with LOBP. Respectfully, let's jump into our bag. You heard?
I know y'all love Live on Broadway podcast, but stay tuned, sis. We about to get into the next segment. How he say that shit?
Clear.
Podcast, the #1 relationship podcast in the world. So spicy.
Money coming, money going. People coming, people go. If you sneaking on the low, yeah. I ain't jacking you no more. Money coming, money go, yeah. People coming, people go, yeah. I swear I need something more, yeah. So I ain't jacking you no more. Clear.
Mike. You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of Live on Broadway podcast.
Keep that same energy.
You know the vibes, what you tapping into. I had to get that little dirt off my shoulders, you heard? Get the energy real right. Get some shit structured. Because, you know what I'm talking about, be a lot of text. How do you say that word? Toxicity. A lot of toxicity in the background. I'm talking about, I just wanted it to be clear. And I'm talking about Live on Broadway podcast for the people, by the people. And I'm talking about, now let's jump into our bag and talk what the fuck we came here to talk about. You heard? A lot going on. I want to shout out, respectfully so. Shout out to Live on Broadway podcast, the Brooklyn Pisces, Ashley Kings, Raina _1199. 1199? No. Raina _Elaine 99. I'm fucking up my teammates' names. Shout out to Sade, shout out to Z, shout out to Shelly, TJ, Danny, DWY, Gigi. I see y'all tapping in. You heard me? Let's get some shit straight. We got some things to discuss and we're going to talk about some things. Sade.
Yes.
Sade.
Broadway.
Sade.
Broadway.
Listen, I'm coming to you first. No. You know, yeah, I am coming to your ass first. Working, the question is, seg 2.
Why you gotta come to me first like I ain't just have surgery on my mouth, bro?
Oh, okay, respectfully. Okay, keep that same energy. Let's see how long you keep it. Let's go on down the line to D. Marie. D. Marie, working with women. Is that a safe space for men? Keep that same energy. Is working with women a safe space for men? Tap in with me, Queen.
All the time. I mean, I didn't work with men shit forever. Whether I was in the gym, whether working in an office, whether working Staten Island Ferry. My thing is, you know who you are, he know who. Well, man's gonna be a man, and woman's gonna be a woman. But when you respect yourself and you have boundaries, there is no blurred line. Ain't no black. Everything's black and white. It's no gray area. If I'm not into you, respect my space. If we flirt or we have some jokes, it's gonna stop there. Don't never disrespect me and feel like you're gonna get away with it because I'm gonna check your ass.
So
you know how I give it up.
Understand the reason why I'm asking that, because there's been some words and rumblings in the background about Olivia Dope. She has something to say in regards to Joe Budden, and I thought it'd be a good segue to talk about this for the podcast. She's saying that there was some sexual harassment and things of that nature when it comes to working with him on his platform for the podcast. See the thing.
Let me say this: if you could say whatever to me. Yeah. Me and you will have our jokes. You know how we always been from day one. We have our jokes. Right. We say little slick shit. But if I feel uncomfortable, it's on me to speak to you about it. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to sit and I'm going to be a woman about my sister. I may not have that because...
Well, that's my point, D. That's my point. He said some things, allegedly, you know what I'm saying? He said some things on air, whatever, they edited it out. Some of it they didn't edit out, or whatever the case is. But he said some things in that episode that she didn't like. And I'm here for that, right? Meaning not in support of it, but if he said he was out of pocket, then you motherfucking right. She should say something to him, right? But what seems to have happened is he said some inappropriate things to her, and she never pulled his coat on it. I'm not saying that if he said that shit, he should be held accountable. But my thing is, if you're my employee and I do something and I'm joking with everybody else and I say some shit to Sade or Danny and they feel some sort, and I'm joking with everybody, and then Shelly feels some sort of way, it's Shelly's responsibility to say something to me like, yo, wait, I don't like the way you said that to me, XYZ. Then moving forward, I feel like everybody should always be granted the opportunity for the benefit of the doubt. And if you aren't granted the opportunity for benefit of the doubt, and it's the first time and I say something to you, and I'm treating you just like one of the guys, just like one of the girls, and everybody else is moving under the same pretenses, I'm thinking, hey, listen, this is a safe space. I could say whatever I'm saying to Sade and Danny, and Shelly gonna take it the same way. When Shelly doesn't take it the same way, and she takes it to social media and blow up and have some ill will words to say about me and how I'm treating her, and she never gave me the benefit of the doubt to say, yo, wait, check this here, homeboy. I'm not really jacking the way you speaking to me. However you speak to Sade and Danny might be one thing, but I don't like the way you speaking to me. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt. That's all I'm saying.
Which is cool. Because like I said, me working in a nightclub, I used to be the last female in the building. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Waiting for how, when the cleanup crew comes, I'm the last female in that building.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm always dealing with a lot of dudes, a lot of testosterone. I can joke with the best of them, but if I feel like something makes me uncomfortable, I'm going to speak on it. The same way when I worked in the gym, I always worked the night shift. If I worked the morning shift, it was during the weekend. But I was the only female left except for my female housekeeper.
Keep that same
energy. But the fellas would come in and we would joke. Yeah. But if I feel like you going a little too far, I'm going to let you know, like, listen, pull it back a bit.
And that's my point, though, D. Is it a safe space for men to work with women? Because
it could be a safe space.
Hold on. A lot of times,
it could be a safe space. It could be a safe space, but you have to learn. Everybody has a boundary. Everybody has a limit.
But how do I know your boundary?
Have that thick skin like you want.
But how do I know your boundary if this is rhetorical? If you never told me XYZ. Let me get it from Danny.
Because that's for you. That's for you to get to know my boundaries. You need to have a conversation with me.
Sade, you want to talk now? Told y'all.
I said what I said. You can't. It should never be I feel like if a man does never has a conversation with me, he would never know my boundaries. And the only way that is going to happen is if you have a conversation with me. Like, it's not for me to be like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we don't be having conversations. I get up here, I pull Sade leg, she pull my leg right back.
Broadway,
Sir, that's the
every
definition
day.
of a conversation.
Exactly.
No. What do you mean that's the definition of a conversation? I get up here and I pull Sade leg in front of you guys right now on the podcast. Sade and I don't have conversations on the back end of, yo, Sha, how far can I go? X, Y, Z. I pull her leg, she pulls mine right back. And
I'm
same
pretty
thing
sure
with you, Danny.
Okay, so since you want to go there, a talk, especially an informal one between two or more people in which news and ideas are exchanged. So in other words, it doesn't matter of when the conversation goes. You're having a conversation on this podcast right now. That's how you learn people is through conversations. It doesn't have to be a separate conversation about, oh, these are my boundaries. Sometimes it just comes up in a conversation when you tell somebody, hey, I'm not cool with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. So make it make sense to why would Olivia Dope take it to social media and blast homie, and I'm not saying homie is right. Because if he did that shit, he wrong, right? Well, all I'm saying is, at what point do she at least bear men? We can't speak on top of each other. I'm gonna let you go right now. At what point do she take it to him and say, yo, listen, I'm not jacking the way you were moving. Give him the benefit of the doubt. And if he does it again, then blast him.
I'm not gonna give him a chance to do it again.
So are you at least gonna have that conversation with him? At some
point,
but
personally. It ain't. But that's the thing. Like, social media is just a place where it's like everybody puts shit on there. If I have a problem with you, Broadway, I'm about to bring it to your attention. I would rather have a conversation with you than to have everybody chime in and say, "Well, you should have said this and you should have did that." Like,
Point made. Z-Mob, how you feel, King? I'm coming to you next, TJ.
Man.
So Z, the question is, sometimes women like to be treated like one of the guys. And I feel like sometimes, regardless if it's the workspace or not, I got one of my homegirls, she does police department work, right? I got another homegirl, she's like an alpha, she's gay, she does construction. I got another homegirl that does sanitation, right? I'm saying these things and pointing out these things where these spaces that are male driven and that are macho, if you will, right? And they that's what she said. They do those jokes all day. So at what point inside of working with women does a man feel, is it a safe space for a man to just be a man and treat her? Go ahead, King.
Well, let me say, I don't believe that, the workspace is a place for a man to be a man. That's just my perspective. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like in a supervisory role that I play, conversations are professional, and we can vibe on a personal level, but we don't have certain conversations. You get what I'm saying? So, and what I have encountered with men working with women is a lot of times they take the personal relationship and they incorporate it at work, and they lose boundaries. You get what I'm saying? If you and a female that you're working with, if y'all can make sexual, and gender role type of, perspectives and jabs at each other, outside of work.
Well,
because
now,
when it comes into, go ahead.
Well, Z, respectfully, does the workspace matter though? Meaning, what happens if it's corporate? I get it. If the platform in which the job or the workspace is a podcast where you're creating moments and you're saying shit, you know what I mean? Or whatever it might be. It might just be whatever, right? It might not just always be corporate. And I don't think she had that conversation, Trey.
And what I believe is, if a female enters a male-dominated like area or arena, it still doesn't take away from the fact that, you know what I'm saying, that there are certain conversations that you should and shouldn't have. You get what I'm saying? I don't care what it is, whether it be podcast, whether it be corporate. You get what I'm saying? Whether it be on the police force. At the end of the day, a woman wanted to be equal, or a woman wanted to be, physically indoctrinated into the culture of her career has nothing to do with, is the workspace safe for men to be men. If you go like your workspace, you're a man regardless of if you're in your workspace or not. But I think what we tend to do as men is we take on this persona of, as a man, this is how I should be able to talk and act in any environment that I'm in. And if you're a woman and you're coming into that environment, you should be okay with it because this is how men carry themselves.
I like that.
It don't fucking work like that.
I like that. And I agree with that. That's a certain level of entitlement that you're speaking on, Z. Right? The entitlement that a man should be able to do what he want to do and occupy the space and conversation as he please, if it's a male-dominated space or not. That's entitlement that you're speaking on, right? And I agree with that, right? My energy is, when it comes to me working with women, I be fucking nervous, low-key. I don't say shit, even my team. I don't say shit, I don't do shit. If it's on the platform, y'all know what y'all fucking signed up for. I'm not going, I still straddle the fence very respectfully, but I still, you know what I mean? I say certain shit that whatever. But my energy is like, it's just crazy because I don't want to take away, and I know this is going to sound contradicting, and I'm fine for it, right? So, Danny, get ready to panic because I'm about to say something that's going to make you unmute yourself and pull up, right? But here's the thing. I believe her. But sis, why not say it when the shit happened? Why say it now? Because that shit happened back in January. Now that homie getting his back kicked in pause and all this other salacious shit is coming out with him and his podcast. Now you find the opportunity to say it now. It don't feel right. And I'm not saying that that he didn't do that shit. I'm not saying that he was right. All I'm saying is speak your piece when it's time to speak your piece. And I know that sounds contradicting, but all I'm saying is, all I'm saying is, if that happened in January, and you left the podcast in January, and now we're here in May, why would you wait for somewhat months? And I get it, you say it on your own time.
It's not about saying it on your own time. It's because at the end of the day, you aren't giving women the opportunity to process. Do you realize sometimes we don't even realize we were sexually assaulted till years later? No. You asked the fucking question.
Wait a minute, Broadway. You gotta let her finish because we be letting you finish.
Go ahead. I'm gonna tell you, as a survivor of sexual assault twice, I didn't even realize what the fuck happened to me until a year, 2 years later. It's not as simple as, well, why didn't you tell me when it happened? Because there's fear. What's going to happen? Wait, hold on. Let me finish. What's going to happen? Oh, I might get blackballed. Will I ever have a job outside of this? What kind of backlash am I going to get? This is all the stuff that women have to face before they even open their mouth to say, hey, this happened to me. I'm not taking away from that, though.
But you are, though. But I'm not, because all I'm saying is, why now? Because before this whole thing, she left in January. There was sexual misconduct on the job, and I'm here for it. I understand her point of view.
Did you ever think that might also
let me finish. Hold on, but let me finish.
Oh my God.
So, and I'm also here to understand that when it happens, cool, a woman needs time to process. I get it. All I'm saying is it just comes across as being a bit, especially when it's social media, it comes across as being a bit clout chasing.
Okay, so again, you're taken away from her experience. There could have been various reasons. We don't know. She might have had an NDA. There's shit that goes on behind the scenes when you leave a public podcast like that. You can't always just come forward. You might be risking legal action against you just for speaking your goddamn truth.
Okay.
And that's facts.
Okay. That's true.
Let's get it from DW. Can I get it? Can I get it from a man?
Yeah.
Let me get it from TJ.
All right.
My bad. Let me get it from TJ. I'm gonna come to you next, D.
Yo.
What's happening with you, TJ? My fault, King. We had you on ice, beloved.
Hey, nah, ice keep me cool. But yeah, man, in situations like this, for women, yeah, it is harder to speak up because when you're dealing with a man in a position of power, usually it becomes her credibility is challenged. And when shit like that happen and it becomes the whole his word against her word, the woman usually loses out on that. So sometimes they have to bite their tongue and
Hold on.
wait
Hold
until
on, T. We want to get your audio, King, but it sounds like there's some fumbling going on in the background. Yeah, go ahead, go for it, King. I just want you to be
good.
mindful.
All right, y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, King.
All right, so yeah, like I was saying, yeah, when you're dealing with men of power and a woman wants to speak out, sometimes, yeah, that a lot of shit is at risk when she speaks up. So sometimes, yeah, she gotta wait. She gotta like hold her punches until other people are experiencing similar shit so she can speak up. So I mean, with the Joe Budden issue, it's like, yeah, I mean, we know how he is and shit, but I mean, it took for the whole Maul Rory shit to go bad before she came in and told her side of this,
Yeah.
of a different story, just to show that he might be letting the power get to his head and he might be acting out a little bit, but yeah, but usually if it's a female and a male, if that man is the one with power, that woman usually gets the short end of the stick. So I see what Danny's talking about.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. You know, my effort isn't to take away from what happened. You know what I mean? My effort isn't to take away and say that he's right or she's wrong or she's right. No, excuse me. Yeah, if that shit happened, I agree. She should say something. My energy is just though, like, I just feel like, and I'm not a woman, so I want to be clear in saying that, right? My energy, go ahead, D, go ahead. I'm gonna let you speak first.
Are you
D,
talking
you're
to
not
me?
muted. D, you on mute, King.
Oh, DWI. Yeah, nah, because I know it was another D. So
Oh, my fault. Go ahead, DWI.
So we're gonna talk. I'm gonna talk from a perspective of running a business for the last 20-some years with predominantly women around me.
Yeah.
And having women, you know, it's a recording studio and a podcast studio, so women come in to do studio work, to host their own studio shows, and you know, women just being invited as guests. So it's always women. It's 80% women operated situation.
Right.
Me personally, and I love women. So let's just get this right. I love women, but not once have I ever put myself in a situation to have a conversation that was uncomfortable outside of being invited into a conversation. So I really can only speak from that perspective. But I hear what you're saying about, you know, you can go back and forth at the workforce and they can be talking about these body parts and that body parts, and women could come on and ask you the size of your penis and all this other funny stuff that could happen, but not to say that, you know, we can't, it's like, it's one of them situations. For women, if you get a group of them together and then there's sometimes one gay guy, or, you know, Darnell, then all of a sudden you got this conversation to do the
D, your
great
phone
sweats.
panicking.
And then me being in the background hearing it, it's like, yeah, it's
D, you cutting out.
Yeah, D, you cutting out. Let me ask this question, right? Is there ever any pretenses that a man could call a woman a bitch in conversation?
I'm gonna say it like this. Like I say,
Can somebody answer that question?
I'm gonna tell you like this. Just like I say about the N word as far as white people go, y'all can say whatever the fuck you want. Results may vary depending on the situation and how it's used.
Okay.
Depending on the
And who it
delivery.
comes from and who you're saying it to. So y'all have the right to say whatever the fuck y'all want to say. Now, when you're held accountable for those actions or shit goes south, that's on you because you chose to say it.
Yeah. I'm here for that.
I feel like it's all about the context of it. You know what I'm saying? You could be how you say to me It's how I'm gonna perceive it. So if you're gonna be, you could be joking, or you could be malicious, or you could just be plain right disrespectful. It's all about the context and what the conversation is. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's about delivery when you speak to people and what you're trying to say. Because I'm gonna go off of how you're talking to me. If you're talking to me with intent, anger, you know what I'm saying, or joking and be happy, everything's about context these days. You might say something in a text and I might misconstrue what you're saying. You might have been joking, but I might have been thinking like, oh, this nigga's trying to be sarcastic with me. You know what I'm saying? And it might not be the case.
The reason why I asked that, I feel you. The reason why I asked that question is because, you know, she started off her, one of her POVs, like, you know, he said, bitch, push a button. You know what I mean? Like he said it like in a joking like way. And I'm definitely not caping for homie, but he said it in a joking like way. And I watched the interview. I watched her points of reference when she was pointing out her numbers and so forth and so on. You know, saying, all right, at this time stamp, he said XYZ. There was an edit there, XYZ. You know, one of her first arguments that she gave was, yeah, he called me bitch. And I was like, okay, like, listen, sometimes, go ahead, Z, because sometimes respectfully, it's hard to be a man occupying the space with women too. And I'm just being honest. It's hard to be a man occupying space with women because sometimes, like,
that's true.
It's like reading the room. Like sometimes I remember D had a show on his podcast where they talked about all sexual shit. I don't know. I didn't know the chick that was doing that podcast or whatever the case may be. But I walked into a room and there was no podcast going. And Shorty was like, "Oh, you got on gray sweats? Oh shit, your shit look crazy." And I'm looking like I start joking in, you know what I mean? But again, the double standards, right? But again, like I often say on this podcast, I'm cool with knowing what the double standards are. But as a man, right? It's hard to navigate the space of working with women sometimes because some women are by the book. Check. Don't say this, don't say that, don't do this, don't say that. Cool, I'm here for it. But sometimes there's the space of working with women where you see them and if I'm a man and I'm traumatized low key, I say that being serious, and you traumatized and you say, all right, cool. When I work with women, there's certain things in certain spaces that I'm not going to say, certain things I'm not going to do, right? But then you walk into a space and women start talking crazy to you as an attractive man, right? And they start doing certain shit, and you start looking at the room like, oh shit, so this is what we doing? Now I wonder, if I kept that same energy, what would be the results of that? And that's why I say, is it a safe workspace for men to work with women?
I'm back out the tunnel. Can I say this? I like what Shorty just said about results may vary because that's exactly how you have to approach every situation. Like I said, I did my whole career on eggshells. Like, damn, I own an old business. I can't do nothing or play around with no woman because I see what happens to these other guys that own businesses. And not to say that I'm gonna say something because I'm not like that. I know I see me and your energy is different, bro. Where like you have a certain type of charisma where you might get came at it. You know, women might come at you a separate way because you know you're a little more flashy than I am, maybe a lot sometimes. But you know, it's a safe place. But what I'm saying is, you know, so that gives sometimes that gives women the right to come on to you and say certain things. Like I might get in.
But hold on, D.
Listen. I'm not. Could I just say right? That's what I said. Results may vary. What's gonna happen if a bad chick comes on to you and you're single, Broadway? What you gonna do is going all the way because you're gonna accept it. It's the same thing with women.
But what happens if I'm not single?
Guy comes on to her.
What happens if I'm not single?
Then you
and
gotta
just because
you
I'm
address that.
Flashy, just because I'm a bit more flashy, that has nothing to do about the price of tea in Harlem. Because if a chick, just because she got her boobs out or she halfway dressed, don't give a nigga the right to think that he gonna have sex with her. Just because she came out on a date and she looks and her breasts and her ass is outside, it doesn't give him that right or role of entitlement.
All right, so I got another one for you, Broadway. Rules are subject to change. That's what I meant to say, because results may vary and the rules are subject to change based on the people that's involved. That's a fact. And women, I love y'all and I stand with y'all. I got 2 sisters, but y'all know how that goes.
Same
like
here.
if Broadway walk in the room with his sweatpants on and he got his chains and his wrist shining, and it's a 4 y'all sitting there, he's subject to get harassed. It's just gonna happen. It's gonna go down. It's gonna be a low rate.
Wait, but let
I want to get it from Kev. I want to get it from Kev Pryor too, guys. Can I get it from Kev? He just popped in. Shout out to Kev Pryor, my brother, man.
What's going on, y'all? What's happening?
Kev, man, you being the man that's wore many hats, beloved. You know, you've worked in the entrepreneurial space. You worked in corporate. You've done a lot. You know what I mean? So shout out to you. Your resume is extensive, brother.
Appreciate you, fam.
Yes, indeed. So the question is working with working with women, is that a safe space for men? And the reason why, just to give you some quick background to reset the room, Joe Budden had a podcast, See the Thing Is, on his network, and one of his employees, Olivia Dope, had something. I don't know how far along you paid attention to it, but Olivia Dope, she said something in the realms of it was sexual harassment, where when they was filming the podcast, he said some inappropriate things, and I'm here for it. I understand. I understand if he said that shit, then he should be held accountable. My energy is it ever, so we're pretty much talking about right now the double standards, whereas if a man says something to a woman inappropriate, she'll take it to HR and she'll do and say whatever, and respectfully so, right? But if a man says something, if a woman says something to a man that's the same as being salacious and crazy, it's like the man, more often than not, he wears it. And I get the double standard. Room, feel free to reset the room if I'm not doing a well enough job. But that's pretty much the general talk that we're having right now. Is it safe for men to work with women?
Well, again, to answer your question, Broadway, I think it is. I think, again, it comes down to where a lot of men, right, like I said, we live in a very visual society, right? So, you know, again, in the past, growing up, and me working in corporate life, actually working in compliance, you could say good morning to a woman, and she might perceive it to be like, well, what's so good about it? Or the way you said good morning, or would you like a cup of coffee, could be, the way it's presented could be an issue. But then going back to your original question, is it a safe space? I think it is. I think, again, when it comes to like a man like myself, where I'm not worried about chasing a woman in a workplace. If we got a job to do, we got a job to do. I do a show like you do. We bring a lot of models. We bring a lot of very attractive people on the show. Right. My job is to do the interview, keep that guest comfortable, and bring the best out of them, so they want to have a great interview and want to come back. And I've had women even tell me off record, like, wow, you guys are so professional. I was waiting for it. And I'm like, well, you know what? That's the problem when it comes to stereotyping. And we have a lot of that within our community, especially within the Black and brown community, that, if a man, makes a certain amount of money, presents himself in a way, and he presents himself to a woman respectfully, that woman feels like, oh, wow, he's trying to trick me. Case in point, if a woman is out, she has a beautiful body, we know how our Black and brown sisters are, Latin sisters are, doesn't necessarily mean she's trying to give it to you. You know what I mean? And again, if you really wanted it, there's a way of going about it respectfully. See, again, like I said, the game has gotten switched up. I'm a little bit of an older dude now. Like, again, back, younger, we enjoyed the chase. I didn't have to attack you or make you feel like, you have to talk to me or stalk you. If I'm gonna communicate with you as a man, if I'm appealing to you, I'm gonna come at you respectfully. The respect issue, Broadway, that's really what the problem has become in our generation, is that we don't respect each other. So now if the respect is gone, we have to put rules in place. It's just like if it was kids, right? If the kids can't act, if they can't work with each other cohesively, now we got to put rules in place. And that's what's happened. We have to put rules in place because a lot of times the communication and the respect has been nullified.
I see Shakira up there. Shakira, come on mute. Oh, wait, go ahead, Shells. I'm sorry, Shells. I had you on ice, my fault, Queen. Go ahead, then we're going to go to Shakira. Go ahead, Shells.
So one of the things that I wanted to say, and it's basically not disregarding women in general, because I, a woman myself, have recently dealt with, not necessarily in the workplace, but I've dealt with harassment. My thing is that why is it that it becomes frequent that we're kicking someone when they're already down? So I'm like, she had every right to say what she needed to say, and I'm not taking that away from her, because if she experienced harassment, definitely that needs to be addressed. Yes, I understand and I agree social media is not the place to do it, because people will always have their own opinion. People are always going to say, well, you did it wrong. You should have done it this way. Well, if you do it their way, what do you think the turnout's going to be? Because you can't blame anybody but yourself, because you took their advice instead of taking your own. So like in this case, it's something that she needs to do on her own, not display it to the whole world. She definitely should have brought it up to his attention. You made me feel X, Y, and Z. Can we talk about this? How are we going to move forward from this? And if she felt that there was no outcome from that, or that he wasn't trying to be reasonable, then you take it a step further. Because when you think about it, especially like, let's say, for example, yourself, you built your podcast. You're the head of it. So there is no HR. You are HR, basically. So it's like, it's a different aspect from when you're in a workspace. When you're in a workspace, yes, you are going to the head of HR. So it's like, she should have gone to him and she should have said, this is what happened, this is how I took it, and this is how I felt. Because I do feel that women, yes, you can be in a male-dominant workspace, the same way how a man could possibly be in a female-dominant workspace. Like, I worked in a male-dominant workspace before, and I felt that tension. I definitely felt it, because whenever I had a customer walking through the door, it's like, I got the face, what are you doing here?
Well, see, so here's the thing, Shells, right? And I'm going to give it to Shakira right now, right? Shout out to So Superwoman. I just said that same shit, and it was on my body about it. When a woman says the same thing that a man says, it hits different, and it sounds different for some reason or another. But when a man says something, it just comes across as being, oh, he don't understand. Oh, because you're not a man. You're not a woman. You don't understand how a woman is, so forth and so on. But when a woman says the same thing that a man just said, because the reason why I'm saying this, Danny, I see you came off mute, is because Shelly just said that she didn't need to go in so many words, and correct me if I'm wrong, Shells, I don't want to put words in your mouth. In so many words, she didn't need to hit social media. She could have said it to him personally. She didn't need to, she also didn't need to do it when everybody else was kicking them down. She could have did it before or after, so it don't seem clout chasey. But when I say the same thing, everybody else quick to say, hold on, but let me finish.
Both of y'all. I think that's wrong on both of y'all. Period.
Okay.
I don't care if it
we
comes
can
from
respectfully
a man or
agree
it
to
comes from
disagree.
a woman. As somebody who has actually been through shit, who has been raped and sexually assaulted, like, nah, I don't give a fuck. However you got to get your shit off, sis. I understand that people aren't going to believe you regardless of if you do it right or not. And yes, sometimes
Hold on, Queen. You went out, Queen. Hold on. I want to get your point of view. You went out, though. We can't hear you if you're speaking and you can hear me. Danny, hold on 1 second. Let's wait for you to come back. Are you back? Danny, no. You went off, Queen. Go ahead. Try it again because your mic went dead.
I'm not going to tell any victim, whether it's a victim of racism, a victim of sexual harassment, a victim of sexual assault, a victim of child abuse. I'm not going to tell them how to process their emotions and speak their truth. That's not what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. I think respectfully, and I think respectfully, a lot of men have been sexually assaulted, and it's a shit. Maybe I down that hill alone, but I don't know a man personally. Maybe maybe some taking it haven't taken it as serious as others, but I don't know a man personally that has not been sexually assaulted. Verbally.
I mean, it has happened,
So,
but a lot of people sometimes they won't speak up about it.
So, but this is what this is what I'm saying. I don't know a man personally, and that's big. I don't know a man personally that has not been sexually assaulted, right? In a woman's space, in a man's space, or whatever the case may be. But again, like I always like to say on this podcast and platform, I am understanding towards what double standards are and what they look like to men and women. I don't argue them. I'm not arguing it. Hey, that's a double standard that goes against men more often than not, because a woman can say whatever she wants to a man more often than not, and a man won't feel so easily offended by it as perhaps women. And I understand why women feel how they feel, not because I'm a woman, but because I have siblings, because I have two sisters, because I have a woman, because I've straddled the fence of being outside and knowing what's happening with women outside and know what's happening with women inside, with my family. You know what I mean? So I understand it. Can I get it from Shakira, though?
It just boils down to respect.
Hey,
What's happening with you, Queen?
what's up? Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Queen.
All right, I'm just saying. 'Cause, I make sure I sound good. All right, so hi everybody. All right, let me just say this. First of all, I worked at a place and I work with people on parole. They just came out of jail. So you already know the sexual harassment was starting as soon as they saw me step in and do whatever. That's number one. Number two, I reported, what I had to report because, some of them was just straight violated, but then my supervisor was coming on to me too. So I was in a situation where I'm like, well, damn, I don't know who to go to because HR and the supervisor are like buddy. So unfortunately, what ended up happening is I just ended up having to leave that job anyway to find something else. So I'm saying this to say that sometimes you do speak up and sometimes people just don't give a shit. Like, I don't know what it is or whatever the case may be, but some people just don't care. So I said what I had to say and nothing was done about it. And so when those dudes were saying whatever they were saying, I just ignore them pretty much and make sure they follow my ass home because they crazy. So, I'm in work, so I gotta be professional because people can't handle rejection very well at all, especially men. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like a man will say something and then you say something back to them like, no, I'm good, no, thank you. Gotta be respectful because like I said, dudes are crazy.
They are.
Okay.
They are. That's a fact.
So it's like you can't even flip on the dude and curse the dude out because he might stab you or shoot you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we've had that conversation recently too, Queen.
Well, let me say this.
Who talking? Who that?
That's Zmar on Instagram. Go ahead, Z.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. Was you finished, Shakira?
No, I wasn't finished. Now I don't know what train of thought.
Go ahead, my fault, Queen.
Oh shit.
Hey,
because
Shakira.
Zmar done cut me off. Okay, Zmar, and now what was I saying? Oh damn, I done messed up the flow. Okay, basically, bottom line is this: men. I don't think men get sexually harassed, and I'm sorry, I'ma say it because y'all men, I don't know, y'all just freaky, and I don't think y'all get sexually harassed. Okay.
Whoa.
So wait a minute. So Shakira, you think we like everybody that comes on to us all the time?
No. Wait a second. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is some men. Let me rephrase that.
Thank you. Please be clear.
Some men don't mind being sexually harassed. Okay.
Oh, but who made that up? Who
Some women don't like it. Some women don't mind either, though. It goes both ways. You can't.
I'm gonna keep it 100. If you find, listen here. If you find, and I like your vibe.
Bang! Exactly. Now I can fuck with you. Now you're keeping it funky. But it is a case by case situation.
Wait. Let's get it from I think Zmar had tapped in. Then we're gonna come to you, King.
My bad. No, I'm good. I just couldn't let her get away with that
get
shit.
Your point of view on this because listen, more often than not, there's a fine line that men and women both have to straddle, right?
Like, let Zemo get busy because I don't want him to Devo me like he Devo'd her. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Z.
Hey, listen.
We hear you, Z. Oh, Z, your phone panicking. Your phone nervous, brother. Your phone nervous.
Pen. She said, no, I ain't I ain't nowhere near nervous, my brother. It might be my internet.
All right,
but,
there you go. We can hear
you
you.
know,
I just meant we couldn't hear you.
Got you.
But hold on, Z, hold on. There's some fumbling going on with the microphone. Just try to hold this steady so we can hear you, King.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So let me say, I do believe, as you said, that it is a fine line. But I also think, as Ms. Shakira just said when she was talking about, some men don't mind being sexually harassed. Sexual harassment is sexual harassment whether you accept it or not. You get what I'm saying? I think the issue is, when I heard you voice your POV on the topic, I took it from a overall, supervisory standpoint of, it is safe for a man to be a man, and we need to step out of those expectations of just being allowed to say and do whatever we want to do, right? But the more we explore the conversation, right, it does seem that it's unsafe for a man to operate in a environment full of women because you never know what you say may be misconstrued as in something that it's not. Perfect example, being in the Marine Corps, 8.5 years. Like, there were certain ways that I had to talk to female Marines, people who went through 13 weeks of fucking combat training, just like me. It was certain ways that I had to talk to female Marines because they felt like if I said something to them a certain way, then it was sexual harassment, right? Or perfect example, I could be talking to my fellow Marine and I could say, damn, that looks good. And because this female Marine is walking past and she assumes that I'm talking about her, she goes to, the gunny and everybody else, the higher up, the EO, rep, saying that Sergeant Taylor sexually harassed her because he said something about her body and it had nothing to fucking do with her.
Z, I just want to point something out, King. Hold on, I just want to say something real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
So, and I'll let you get your point back, but I just want, after you finish, I want to talk about what happens when there's false allegations that come out. Is the person that gave the false allegations ever held really accountable? Because there are those moments that people give false allegations. False allegations, and it comes out that they was lying and that wasn't what happened, and she was doing that because she was hurt. It was some other shit going on, and she don't ever really get held accountable. Like, she don't go to jail. She don't get the book thrown at her. She don't get probation. It's just,
and that's the double standard. No, she needs to be held accountable.
You damn right, because ain't nobody should be lying about being sexually harassed, because that shit ain't funny.
But that's my point. At all. But that's my point. Like, what happens in that space of it gets swept under the rug, and it comes out that that's not what happened, and the accusation, the salacious moment on he did this, he did that, was bigger than no, he really didn't do that. There was voice recordings and all this other stuff. What happens
Broadway.
When that happens?
We just had an incident of this happening out in California, where a young lady, all-star, of rape, after the man has lost his scholarship, because she had consensual sex with this black athlete, and she did not want the guy who she really liked to think that she was a hoe, she made allegations that this man raped her. The man lost his scholarship. 3 years later, she comes out, it wasn't true. Guess what? In front of the court, it was like, okay, it's over.
That's it?
It's done.
Wow.
And that's
I would have had a lawsuit. You need
and that's the fucked up
sometimes
part about society is that we live, and I get it.
That's
we
why
have
I say
been
it's hard being a
overrun
man
with
sometimes.
Guilty
exactly.
before proven innocent.
The fucked up part is we had so many men utilizing and abusing their power, right? That now we have a lot of women jumping on the fucking bandwagon. not to say that anybody is right and not to say that anybody is wrong in whatever allegations they make or feel like they were sexually harassed, different things of that nature. But we're living in a society, I feel now, is that everything is fucking being scrutinized by whatever a man says and does that makes a woman not feel, that makes her don't feel uncomfortable. You get what I'm saying? But it don't necessarily have to be that, even if it's not against you. That's why I gave the perfect example of being in the Marines. Like, I got brought up on EO charges. You get what I'm saying? Because a young Marine thought that I was talking about her ugly ass. And I fucking was.
Well, damn, she not ugly. She just got different characteristics. That's all.
She's just unique.
If that's what the fuck you want to call it.
She's unique.
Unique. Beauty's on the inside. That's what they say.
Yeah, the hell it is.
Outside, what you saying?
But to make a long story short, but that was my experience, right? Of having that one experience. And even when other people was like, he wasn't even talking about her. You get what I'm saying?
It don't matter.
That's not what it did not fucking matter.
No matter.
It was because she felt harassed. And guess what? So now we have, in the military, we have these policies about harassment. So I understand it. And it goes over in the civilian sector even now. You can be having a conversation, me and you in the coffee break room, and a woman can walk by, hear the conversation. If she's offended, she can say that we are fucking harassing her. And we don't necessarily
even
have
if
to
it's
be
not towards her, right?
Even if it's not towards her.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? That's where I feel like we have fucked up in society. Not to say that, not to cast doubt on women who have been sexually harassed, right? And I think a lot of times what we get most times is women who have been sexually assaulted, right? They tend to take on the persona that anything that goes against a woman's free will to be who she is, is a direct insult against what she should and should not do.
Right.
Right? And I don't think that's fair, but I'm going to just shut the fuck up because I got a little bit of drink in my system.
To be honest with you,
let me just say this one thing, Queen. Damn. Go ahead, Queen. I forgot what I was going to say. It was something.
I totally agree with what he's saying because, to be honest with you, I've been in a situation where it was consensual between me and a coworker, but I've learned other things behind, him having somebody, whatever, and I addressed that. So when I cut things off, things became tense, where he would say things to my boss like, "Oh, she's not in uniform," and I'll be in uniform. You know what I'm saying? Or because we was dealing with sales, "Oh, she's not directing calls to my line." You know what I'm saying?
Yo, D, let me tell you something, Queen. This is what I was going to say, too. If you look at me the wrong way, hold the fuck on.
I'm done with you.
Yeah, because you know where I'm going. If you look at me the wrong way, just because I wear gray sweatpants does not give you the right to look at my sausage.
And that's another thing. Just because a man has on gray sweats.
What that nigga said, I'm bringing cases on all y'all niggas. What he said? I'm bringing cases on. I'm bringing cases on all y'all asses. You look at me some sort of way because I'm outside and I got on no shirt and I want to have my areolas out. You say something inappropriate if you're a woman.
Nah, that's a different story.
I know where you going with this because I said that.
Don't say shit too Broadway. Don't say nothing to me because you say some shit to me. I am suing you.
Like Rico Suave.
I'm sending you to the gulag.
If your chick what you think gonna happen, I'm just saying.
What?
I'm skinning on my square.
What you said, Shakira?
I'm skinning on my square. I said what I said to you.
If your chest is out, right?
Yes.
What you think gonna happen? You tell me what you think gonna happen.
Fuck is you talking about?
I already know where you going with this.
Because if a woman walked down the street and she got all her legs out and ass out and her titties out, what you think is going to happen? That sounds crazy coming from a man, right? So it sounds crazy
catcalling like a
coming from
mother.
a woman. What is you talking about?
Okay.
I mean, well,
I'm about
it
to
is
take my
legal
shirt
for
off
a
right
woman to
now.
be topless.
I'm taking my shit off right now. And if anybody
No,
Please
this
don't.
is a different
Please.
situation. Broadway's doing the most.
Hell no.
Nah,
Keep your shirt
we
off,
get
please.
to say
I had
shit like
enough of you
this
doing that.
because that's the relationship we have with you.
What happened?
No.
So we
If
get
I
to
take
talk
my
about
shirt
you
off and y'all
outside with your areolas and shit because of the
I already
relationship
know
we
where
have
he's going
with
with
you.
this one. I said what I said to you.
Yo, Zmar, pause. Next podcast, I'm cutting out the areolas on my shirt, and I'm just.
Please don't.
Hell
Let me
no.
tell you why he's doing this. Because I said
I'm
something
just gonna
to
sit up here
him.
with areolas out.
He felt some type of way and he's running with it.
I told him
Really?
to put his Hershey
Well, was he
Kisses away.
offended?
I said
I don't think he was offended.
Yo,
put your Hershey Kisses away and keep it
But
like that.
that still goes down. That still goes to what the point of what we trying to say is.
Right.
We're not talking about the obvious rapey stuff that happens. We just talking about the gender differences in working around women. Like how I could imagine. See me, hold on. Me, Broadway, and King, and Kevin, the gentleman in here. We all look a certain way where we don't really have to worry about certain things. But some of the other guys that have a little more work to do. You know, they say little awkward things, so they don't really know. They don't got the game like that. So there has to be some type of rules in the workplace. Like, look, we can't play with you because you don't know how to play right. Like, it can't just be across the board because obviously, what y'all just said, Broadway can't come to work with his shit out because y'all have the right
you
to talk
talking
about
Dan? Yo.
Please don't.
Yo, somebody pass me some scissors. I'm about to carve my shit out.
I'm dead.
Give me some scissors. Watch.
At
Y'all
the
stay
end
right
of
here.
the
I'm gonna give
day,
you some scissors right now.
Please don't.
What the fuck is you talking about?
Please don't.
It all goes down to respect.
And I'm gonna make it my avatar. Fuck is you talking
Nah,
about?
but D, like
Yo,
I
Broadway,
get exactly what you were
Broadway,
saying.
Make a drop out of please don't, please, because that shit is fire. Please don't.
Please do not do that tonight, sir.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna say this, bro. Go ahead and do it. I'll
I'm done. Zemar's like, yes.
Listen,
Baby boy, we're not going to encourage this behavior.
At the end of the day,
Please
ain't
don't.
nobody gonna say that.
But nah.
If anybody say anything, guess what? We're going to HR of damn Clubhouse.
There you go.
He said HR Clubhouse.
Wait a minute,
There you go, baby.
They all gotta go.
Wait a minute.
Young
wait a
man,
minute.
you're not doing this.
So what? I want the same equal
No,
opportunity
on
that's
a
afforded
real
to
note,
women.
though, it's about respect because you know what? Just because a man has on great sweats, it does not always mean he may not want you to be commenting on his package that you might happen to see. Which I tell some people black sweats is a little better.
Wait. Y'all think it's a game? Y'all think we wear the gray sweats like it's part of like the game?
Some dudes do it on purpose.
No, we say that's a thought outfit for men.
Because they want attention too. Men be wanting attention too.
What type of men are y'all
That's
seeing?
a thought outfit for men.
That's like
Yup, having their shirt off, having their shirt off in the sweatpants and all that.
Exactly.
Listen,
That's like you coming outside and my headlights is hard as hell. You gonna be like, well, damn, my nipples is hard as shit. You gonna be looking. I know.
Who made this title shit funny as hell?
We can't say shit about your physical appearance because that's just like I go to the club, you see the women in the fishnet outfit. You know what I'm saying? They got their titty nipples all out. They pussy print all fucking showing. But let you fucking say something to them about it. Watch what happens. Your ass gonna end up in jail. You get what I'm saying?
Well, what you gonna say? How you saying it to them? What you saying though?
Wait, guys, wait. Time out.
Can we reset the room?
Respect the mic. Hold on. I want y'all to continue this conversation. I just want to wrap up the podcast because this shit is getting spicy and batteries are dying.
I just got in.
So stay. Everybody stay where you are.
You can stay in the room.
I'm just gonna wrap up the podcast. Listen, guys, you know the vibes. Listen, man, we just did a dope podcast event, man. Make sure you tap in and check for it on YouTube, Live on Broadway podcast. Shout out to Lambda Lounge. Shout out to everybody that helped pull that off. We staying on the we staying in these rooms, but we just went in the podcast. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure you tap in. We are on Patreon. If you see this podcast, if you love this podcast, and you want exclusive one-on-one content, you know what I'm talking about? Make sure you pull up and subscribe to Patreon. You know what I'm talking about? The link is in my bio right now as it see fit. Something like that. Anyway, Live on Broadway podcast. You know the vibes. It's cheaper to be yourself. Be giant. Pool.
Clip. Money's coming.
Do you have relationship questions you need answered? With spicy topics? DM us at Live on Broadway Podcast. Have music, products, or an ad you want us to run? Email us at Live on Broadway Podcast. Be sure to tap in. Mondays, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live on IM_Broadway's Instagram. Clear.
Yeah, you guys can